Okay, so this one might seem a little intimidating because there's a bunch of big numbers going on in it. But if you stick with the same strategy we talked about with the first questions, it'll just take some time, but it'll be the same sort of recipe. So we got a light year. It's the distance light travels in 1 year in a vacuum. Okay, assuming there's nothing else. Um, Maybe I shouldn't dive into the science part of it. How many miles are in a light year? So you're supposed to round your answer to the nearest billion, and then so we'll want to keep that in mind when we're trying to answer it. Put it in Newton. Okay, so we need to convert from 1 light year. Need to convert it to miles. Okay, so how many miles are in a light year? 1 light year is the distance light travels in 1 year in a vacuum. So 1 light year is a certain amount of distance that we don't know per 1 year. Okay, so we could get miles out of this. Miles travels at a light year travels at 186,282 miles per second. But we need to bump this up from seconds into minutes, from minutes into hours, from hours into days, and then we can go from days into years. So actually, I think this will be a better approach. Take the 186,282 miles per 1 second. Okay, and then we need to bump this up to years because a light year is the distance light travels in 1 year. Okay, so let's get rid of seconds because we're supposed to be in terms of years. There's 60 seconds for 1 minute. Remember with the conversion factor here, whatever that number is, it's got to be something divided by itself. 60 seconds is 1 minute, so you're multiplying by 1. Okay, and then we've got what comes next? That will convert us to minutes. We need to go from minutes to hours. There's 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then we need to go from hour to days. There's 24 hours in 1 day. And just notice how I'm stacking the fractions. It's so that I can cross cancel my units, right? Because we're not supposed to be in seconds, not supposed to be in minutes, not supposed to be in hours. We got from 1 day. There's 365 of those days in 1 year, I should say. Okay, so now once we crunch these numbers, we're going to have the distance, a light year in miles, okay? Because light travels at 186,282 miles per second. We're converting this number from seconds into years through these calculations, okay? So everything crosses out, so you got miles per year. So just need to take a calculator, and it's nice because it's numerator times denominator with fractions, right? Just take the 186,282 times 60 times 24 times 365. So let me copy and paste that. Make it a little bigger. It's this many miles per year. Okay, so that's how long a light year. That's how far a light year is in miles. Okay, so we got to put a comma here, comma here, comma here, comma here. So there's the hundred thousands place, 100 millions, and then it said the nearest billion, I think, right? Round your answers to the nearest billion. So we're going to round this 4 up to a 5. 5,875,000,000,000, and then that's it. Because we rounded this part up. This is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Let's see if I typed that in right. Oop. What did I not type in right? 5, 8, 7, 5. Said round your answer to the nearest billion with no decimals and do not include units or commas in your answer. Oh, I missed the 0. Oh, sorry. No, they don't want you to write out the full billions. Okay, they just want you to write 5,875 billion miles, which is kind of confusing. Okay, so when you do yours, just don't include the zeros. Just they want it in terms of billions. Okay, so this is 5,875 billion, which is not something we typically say. But okay, so just watch out for that for your when you do your assignment. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, Mars travels. Let me get some white space here. Mars travels at 24,126 meters per second in orbit around the Sun and takes 1.88 Earth years to complete its orbit. So, what is the total distance in miles Mars travels throughout its complete orbit? So, we need to find out how many miles Mars travels, okay? So what we could do is we could do what we did in the last problem, convert 24,126 meters per second into, they want miles, okay? So we can convert that from meters per second to miles per year. And then you just have to multiply that by 1.88 Earth years to find out how many, because that's how long it takes for the orbit. And multiplying those two will tell you how long the orbit is. So nicely, they give us meters per mile, okay? So why don't we start with that? Let's get rid of, let's get ourselves out of meters and put ourselves in terms of miles. There's 24,126 meters per second. I'm going to use S for second, okay? If that's Mars's velocity around the sun. But we want to take that and put it in terms of miles. So we're going to use the fact that there's 1 mile per 1,609 meters. Again, meters goes on bottom. That way your units cross cancel, like numbers typically do with fractions. Okay. If you put meters on top, then you're going to have meters squared over 1 second mile, and then those units are getting all jumbled up. Okay, so we converted Mars velocity. It's 24,126 miles. And then when you multiply straight across the bottom here, this is per 1,609 seconds. But then we also need to convert Mars's distance. We've got to convert Mars's speed to be years. That way we can make it communicate with this measurement over here, okay? So let's do that long chain like we did in the last problem. You got 60 seconds. Here, let me fix that. I don't want that to look like a 5. 60 seconds per 1 minute. And then we want to get rid of minutes, so there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then there's 24 hours in 1 day, and then there's 365 days in 1 year. Okay, so 24126 times 60 times 60 times 24 times 365. Got to start typing out the number. It's getting big. Okay. Oops. That's the last. This many miles per 1,609 years. Because we still had the 1,609 on bottom, right? Okay, yeah, because all these units cross-canceled. So we got this many miles per this many years, okay? What were we asked for in the final answer here? We were asked for the total distance in miles Mars travels to complete its orbit, okay? So this is still talking about the orbit of Mars, right? This is the kind of like the velocity of the velocity of Mars, just in meters per year. But now that we know that Mars is 1.88 Earth years, we can multiply by 1.88 years over 1 to make the units cross cancel. Okay? 7608375. I'm worried I'm going to type something in wrong. 3753600 times 1.88 divided by 1609. And then they're probably going to ask us around here. Round your answer to the nearest whole number and do not include units. Okay, so this one doesn't say in billions, so you can just round to 888,983,57. Just cut off the decimal. It's going to take that many miles. Because when we round to the nearest whole number, we round down. Hopefully we have it the way Newton wants it, and it says, let's see. 888,983,572. I must have dropped a decimal here. Let me take a look. 57.2. Maybe I dropped a 0 when I typed these in. Let's just double check that one last time. 24126 times 60 times 60 times 24 times 365 divided by 1609. Yeah, because that's a different number than what we got before, so I must have dropped a decimal. If we multiply by 1.88, yeah, so there was a 0 written in there incorrectly. So I guess the takeaway from this one is just you might be doing the math right. Newton might be marking it wrong, and it might be just because you're dropping a 0. So just type those in really, really carefully, okay?